People complain on average once a minute during a usual conversation. Have you ever reflected on how often you complain about something? Probably no, because we don't pay attention to these things. Even we don't realize how many times we do that. So today I'm gonna change your mind about it and show you the benefits of complaining, why we should do it, and how to recognize when we complain too much. Let's get started. I am sure you know at least one person who is unpleasant with everything. Let's say it's your friend Peter. Peter always finds any reason to complain. Everyone has enough of him and he's complaining. They are just fed up. How would you feel if you had such a friend? I guess really terrible, bad and hopeless. Rather agree with me, that's harmful in the long run, but what if I would say you that complaining brings benefits? When I thought about it the first time, I acknowledged that as really stupid. I looked for an answer to this question and finally I concluded that there can be positive effects of grumbling. It's crucial to understand we are able to highlight our problem more precisely. How unhappy we are for any reason, it enhances this message. Anyone can better understand what you are trying to say. This helps you relieve your emotions when you are annoyed or upset. The most important, you can let it go and forget your worries. I have to admit, it's actually the best thing, which offers complaining personally I've always recognized as something negative. I guess the most people further think in this way. There is an apparent reason which provides us evidence. Society associate complaining with a person who complains about almost everything. We perceive this phenomenon negatively. Although there isn't something like that. Anything is only positive or only negative. If you wished to find any proof so that undermine any statement, you would do that. Because I consider everything is undermining, only you have to prove your point with some sensible arguments. So, should we complain? In my opinion, we should complain about hard situations when we wanna relieve ourselves. Complaining works like cleanse, but we can't use this tool in every case. Though it's able to bring undesirable outcomes, often devastating. You noticed that doesn't have to be irrelevant. You might use this to your advantage, using as your ally. Complaining isn't your enemy, only ally. Sometimes it seems the most powerful weapon, which should be banned. You don't realize how it can help you on a daily basis. Let me clarify further so that you will be able to understand it better. What would you do if you couldn't complain or grumble about anything? We assume that we live in a world where there mustn't complain. You are punished for improper conduct. We need to proceed in accordance with law. You are forced to listen to them. So where people would express their emotions, their displeasures, what they would be doing there. To be honest, what kinds of actions they could take up. It's better to not imagine that. I would guess it would be things which would give you a lot of precious insights why humans should express feelings. Getting much evidence, there is a research which seems to confirm this statement. Extreme emotion suppression can contribute to an increased risk of mortality. I will leave a link in description if anyone would be curious. In fact, we need this habit because I don't know person who could survive in these conditions. I would like to emphasize there are topics like this which people don't want to discuss, for example, islands, conspiracy theories, or our weaknesses. But why? Why is this happening? Do we know this reason? It seems to me that you can find basic problems with these issues. Frankly, they are so weird, unusual, and most of us often prefer to avoid this stuff. The answer is obvious. Society realizes that many people who create this kind of content can be suspicious with many reasons. Anyone encourages to take up extreme activities that may threaten your life, for instance, different weird rituals, working with crystals. Additionally, any woman says that she's enlightened or some clairvoyants tell you the same lies, it's probably the end of the war and etc. etc. Generally, I used to listen to such things. However, when I think about it now, I can't understand what did make that I watched such craps. That's why most of us don't look at something like that. Due to their experience related to the spirituality, they might be strange, like in my case, even though sometimes they reveal really interesting facts about various concepts which could be implemented. Their reliability appears to be empty. Their words just are worthless. When it comes to the spirituality, it works similarly to the TikTok. Once you can come across the something valuable, and once an idiot can brainwash your mind. So I would watch out browsing their content. In majority, it's an affluent. It also refers to complaining and other subjects. There is a fundamental differences between spirituality and complaining. You are able to find out within a few hours about complaining, and in the spirituality you have to watch hundreds of hours to find the truth. It was easier to collect proof for complaining than some topics in spirituality. We observe it in much research. Researchers proved that people shouldn't often complain, as it increases our problems more than improve our current state. We are helpless in many fields. We don't want to achieve. You don't care your life. Basically, for you it doesn't matter when you will go, because even today it can happen for you. That steals your vital forces. Fading in you, you are disappointed, your life, you don't see any positive things, you look at only this negative reality. I think everyone should experience tough moments because it can build up you on your whole life. One situation can teach you more than 10 less situations. However, when it's painful, we will remember likely it. Seriously, sometimes you could rethink your behavior. Reflecting on a reason shows you a new perspective. You are able to understand your underlying motives. Because sometimes that's enough to wonder about why did you do things mindlessly. It might be caused by your approach. It would be relevant to know certain facts and seek our wrong patterns. Apparently, when you find out about one which you could implement, you will probably want to implement next one. And you would create new patterns. It would be a conducive pattern. You would begin changing yourself. The change would be visible in your actions, and everything would point out the right direction. Nevertheless, our attention is drawn to wrong things. There are many devices that force you so that you use them. The majority of society is addicted to the digital space in a certain way. I would say they are slaves to them. That's why many people aren't able to recognize various dangers. Lack of resistance leads to decline our concentration, and then we can overlook totally simple facts which should be heard by us. However, if we prefer to spend a lot of time in the digital space, you shouldn't be astonished that something is wrong. It would be appropriate to see that. How often you can complain in general? I beg of you, you begin paying attention to the complaining. You try doing it less, but when you don't do often, people don't tell you about it, you shouldn't deal with that issue, because in your life occurs more important problems. Although when you hear this thing all the time that you are complaining, you should take up the necessary actions in order to cut that. You can do this thing when you notice that you are complaining about something, you will immediately focus on your environment and ask yourself, do I need to do that? If the answer sounds no, you just ignore it completely. If this comes up, again, you will repeat this process over and over as long as you won't see any outcomes. Effects should be noticeable instantly. People will stop mentioning your complaining and you will be happier. I would like you to remember this. That's crucial. We usually look at a problem one-sidedly, concluding inappropriately about a specific issue. We have a tendency to explore a subject really shallowly, so that be aware of these dangers which are related to them. You check it out deeper, and I saw people who tell you about subject without knowledge, without any preparation. They introduce a topic partially, shallowly, repeating the same things which they heard from any creator. On the other hand, people do it and it will be doing further. However, I am annoyed what I observe on the internet. Many people describe mostly the cons of anything, avoiding hard topics, or they partially mention it. There are two possibilities which are quite probably. Also, why people can act in this way. First of all, many of us don't wanna discourage you before new things or face new issues. As all of them know, it should turn out right for you within a long period of the time. They realize that you will figure this out soon, so they show a bit truth, but they don't discuss hazards widely. I assume this person just prefer to leave it for anyone else. For example, he can presume there is a person who is able to make better video about this. Or another second one, anyone is conscious of something, but someone deliberately doesn't reveal truth due to various advantages that can benefit all the time. Money doesn't make itself. After all, they are gonna continue their efforts in order to maintain such a thing. We can't be naive. You won't expect any change when it comes to their approach. Maybe any miracle would have to happen so that they could change themselves. In my opinion, they will be cheating you all the way and keep telling the same lies. And to be honest, lack of any gratitude will lead them to the collapse.